everyone, it's Lydia aka Thaler Rich back at again with another video. We're doing another sketch. We're gonna sketch another leaf, okay? To add to the collection. I wanted to talk about lessons. We don't go through anything in this lifetime by chance. Everything we go through serves a higher purpose. It is meant to teach us something useful within our own lives, something that will help us later down the line. And I'm not talking about like repeated cycles, I'm not talking about chosen mistakes, I'm not talking about going through unnecessary things. Okay, I'm talking about necessary, divinely orchestrated events. Things that we go through and we're like, oh my God, that was like, what the frig, you know? But later down the line, we're like, oh, that's why it had to happen. Every challenge is just that, a challenge. When you're learning something, a new skill, a topic, it's so that later down the line, you can take a test and you can pass the test and know how to solve the problems on the test. And life is just like that. So that when the big event comes, you know what to do, you know how to handle it. The best thing you can do for yourself in any given situation that seems challenging is ask yourself a question. Why? Why is this happening? How can this benefit me? And you may not get the answer right then and there, but at least you're telling your mind, you're telling yourself, you're telling your subconscious, hey, this is for a reason, and it's not fun now, but don't freak out, you know? Sometimes when you go through certain things, introspection is the only thing that can help. It's just like studying for a test. It's just like after you go through those challenges and those trials, you take the quizzes, like, oh, I think I'm done. It's like, no, it's for the big kahuna. Then you study, and studying is a form of introspection because you're reviewing what you've learned. Reminding yourself, okay, there's a reason why I did all that work. There's a reason why I went through this. It's not all for nothing. It's not pointless. It's not meaningless. I can feel a test coming. I know it's coming. So let me get ready. Once you pass that ultimate test, you can finally close out whatever cycle you need to close out. And on to the next one. Maybe you'll have some downtime, right? The point is to enjoy the learning process and teach yourself how to get excited for lessons learned, because now you have a new skill set. Now you know more than you did before, and you can live a better, fuller, richer life because of that, because knowledge is valuable. If you don't know how to do anything, how can you live life? You know, you need to know things. Oh, this is what we have so far. This one. Be grateful that you learned that lesson, because that means you didn't know something. And so something happened so that you can learn. And now you know it. And now you don't have to wander through this lifetime not knowing something that could be of value to you, that most definitely will be of value to you. You know, you go through life, you live and you learn. And when you look back on certain experiences, you're like, oh, I know better now. I didn't know better. So you don't have to live with that regret because you know better, you know? It's like, I know better, so now I can do better. How are you going to do better if you don't know better? And that's why I said, you know, I'm not talking about experiences that, you know, are unfavorable that can be avoided. I'm talking about things that are just like, it's easy to dread it in the moment. It's easy to overlook how helpful it can be because of how challenging it is. When you look back, it's like, wow, it's so easy now. It's not a challenge anymore. And that's what a challenge is. If you go back and you do it again, it's like when you play a game, if you go back to the previous level and now you have all these upgrades because you've learned how to play the game and you've overcome certain challenges. And now you have all these upgrades. And then you go back to a previous level and it's like, oh my God, this is so easy, you know? But if you didn't overcome those challenges and you didn't learn how to play the game better, you know, if you didn't get better at the game through those challenges, through those challenging levels, those previously challenging levels, then you would have never gotten those upgrades. And the level will still be, it would still be difficult because you didn't put in the time, you didn't see the value. And sometimes you just don't see the value in the moment. And then, you know, again, you see it later. But make it easier for yourself by seeing the value in it during the challenge so that it's not as taxing on you. Don't make it harder for yourself. Because half of a difficulty level is how you perceive it. If you go in lighthearted, even if, you know, it takes a few tries to overcome the challenge, at least you didn't make it worse for yourself by going in with a bad attitude. And you're gonna have to remind yourself during it, you know, when it's like peak challenge, peak tough, you know, you're gonna have to remind yourself, hey, this is a challenge to be overcome. And I may not know everything now, but I'm learning. Remind yourself, give yourself that grace. You're learning. Yeah, you're learning. Okay. Okay. What's happening? This is what we have so far. Okay, this is the final product. My purple leaf. Yeah. What was I saying? What the hell was I talking about? Yes, lessons. When you go through something challenging, there's a lesson to be learned. There's always a lesson to be learned, okay? Make it easier for yourself by having enthusiasm, knowing that you're learning something that will be useful later down the line, and make your life easier, okay? Because when we learn more, when we know how to do more things, we're more efficient, okay? And we live a better, more fuller, clearer life, okay? Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment down below whatever you want to say down there. Subscribe for more. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.